you know.
That's actually what Chris was saying.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
The control group, maybe.
Well, I mean, that's not really. I mean, I don't tend to do experimental design because I mean, to me, it's also. I mean, I have an ethical problem with experimental design as well. And I agree. I mean, I do believe that the platform design does matter. So that's why we've chosen to work with Knowledge Forum. It does matter. But I think that's not the only factor. And I think the pedagogical design and the context. Yeah, context, the teacher facilitation, I mean, all that matters. And so it's actually futile in a way to think about, you know, comparison.
But that's the answer. When we are working with Knowledge Forum, it's not only working with Knowledge Forum, we are also working with groups and with teachers. And actually in the whole context you see a kind of knowledge building and knowledge creation. Sometimes there's even more knowledge creation talk in face-to-face conversations than in the Knowledge Forum. But it is stimulated by the way they are working with Knowledge Forum.
That's why comparison is difficult, because you're in a different context with a different tool, and of course it'll be different.
Okay, I'll let Cindy talk first.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of this is an empirical question, though, because I agree it's the entire context. But there seems to be this really strong assumption, and it might be right, but that Knowledge Forum is the only way that you can do knowledge building. And that seems like somewhat circular. And it's not that I don't think it's a nice tool, but I think some of these are empirical questions that I worry that we don't try to investigate. That you know, we're making these assumptions, and we might be right, and I think our instincts are probably good, but I think in order to not just preach to the choir, to not just convince the people who already think knowledge building is great, that it is a useful platform, and that it's useful as a theory, I think we need to understand what's the range of circumstances in which we can support learners engaged in knowledge building. And I'm not sure we do right now.
Okay, Kate.
I just want to say that when you ask for empirical data, there have been studies of discourse forums, right? Sorry.
Come out.
No, please. So Cindy asked about empirical studies, and I'm just saying that there have been some investigations of forums where you have threaded discourse and knowledge building. And the problem with threaded discourse is that the knowledge gets locked in the threads, which is why I think Jan was saying that looking at threads in Knowledge Forum is really not all there is to Knowledge Forum, because you're in a larger forum. There's a different type of network of ideas that aren't locked just into the threads. So, I mean, just to say that even though there may not be a lot of studies, it's not the case that there's zero empirical analyses of knowledge building.
Right. Any follow-up? Yes, Carol?
I also want to say that since there are so many teachers here, I actually believe that whether Knowledge Forum will influence more knowledge. I think what will make knowledge building happen is really mostly determined by the teachers and the teachers' understanding. And the teachers' understanding of the nature of argumentation or explanation, whether what is argument or what is explanation of how they work. So I think it's really largely determined by what teacher understand about the process, more than the forum.
Yeah, and I mean personally, I was still think that platforms matter, the technology matter, because it provides different affordances. So that goes into the equation. So if something, if I'm a teacher, I want to do certain things. With some tools, it's much easier to do certain things than others. I mean, just whether this is free, say, co-contribution, or whether you have to negotiate, whatever. I mean, it matters a lot already. But at the same time, I would say, but I also agree with Cindy in the sense that, you know, first of all, it is an empirical thing that we might want to explore, you know, which kind of affordances might be more important to facilitating knowledge building. Now, that's something, I mean, we focus a lot on using scaffolds. And, you know, so with or without scaffolds, does it matter? So I mean, that's kind of, you know, and I think probably, I mean, to me personally, scaffolds is important, okay? So I think one is which kind of, and of course, I mean, it doesn't need to be only knowledge forum. I mean, you can have similar, you know, affordances built into other platforms. And also, the second thing is, to me, everything is improvable, including technology. And perhaps now, I mean, actually one of the projects that we are doing with Insight is in fact developing a new collaborative platform. At the moment, we're giving it the name iLab. I think it's, yeah, I for interactive, L for learning, and A for assessment platform. And because, you know, we are working with teachers in, who are facing, I mean, early on Chris was talking about the context. And the context can be beyond the classroom to the bigger system. And one context we have within Hong Kong is the new secondary school curriculum that will be in place in September this year. And so there is a new compulsory subject, liberal studies, and teachers for the first time have to deal with, I mean, they are supposed to be responsible for assessing students' project work, which would comprise 20% of their final assessment, and that has to be a project over a 1-year duration. And then the teachers are asked to provide evidence for the assessment, and the assessment should be not only quantitative, but they need to have evidence to illustrate the quality of the students' work. Now, so these are very challenging. So at the moment we are trying, and because I mean now, compared to say, nearly, I think it's probably about 20 years back when, you know, the CISO work started, when, I mean, CISO was really extremely innovative at the time when the internet wasn't even here, you know, to do all that work. But now we have those Web2 social networking tools, so that, you know, it's probably something that we might, so we are investigating. We are not calling it a knowledge building platform, but we're calling it a CSCL platform for learning and assessment. So hopefully we can explore, and of course, I mean, what CSCL was knowledge building. I mean, I think there is a continuum in a way. I mean, I can see the distinction. But I think there might not be either 0 or 1. So, yes?
Well, thank you, Mehdi. I'm from a different platform. And I'm teaching law now, doing research in human rights, I think, but I have a lot of interest, I think. So my question is the CSCL, whether it is feasible regarding the all discipline, in fact. And you know, as a teacher, we have the specific timeline to take a class, I think. And it is not feasible for any countries, I think, because it is depends on the, already you have mentioned, depends on the infrastructural facilities, I think, and also the, I think, technological development, I think. But well, at Hong Kong, you know, in the classroom also, the teachers, I think that the traditional way, the one way teacher deliver the lectures, and then there is, I think, a discussion, I think, some sorts of knowledge building and any other things. But I want to know whether the CSCL is feasible regarding the all kinds of discipline, I think. So for example, law teaching, I think. Because firstly, students has to gain some substantive knowledge, I think, before discussion. Well, and then after they have to discussion about the merits and demerits of the knowledge, I think, and the law. And well, okay. I have no idea.
Right, okay.
Yes.
Now, I think this is a very, very good question, very complex question, and I would strongly encourage you to come on Saturday morning,
Yes, sure.
when you will see, I mean, in the plenary, we will have students, teachers, even policymakers, I mean, us, researchers talking together and sharing our experience, not only CSCL within Hong Kong, but also internationally, because we've been, Dr. Montaigne here comes from, she's the Director for International Collaboration from the Catalonia government, which is part of Spain, and its capital is Barcelona. And we have quite a number of our classrooms now collaborating with classrooms in Catalonia, as well as in, I think at least one this year, with a school in Quebec. So you will be seeing how the children talk about, and you can ask them about the CSCL questions.